Okay, we're almost done. We're almost there, but we want to take one more opportunity while you're at your tables to discuss your thoughts on biotech and agtech opportunities here in Diablo Valley region. So definitely use this opportunity. I think we have about 20-25 minutes and we'll wrap up. Okay. If we can move forward. I know you all don't want to. Great conversation going on, but we're going to do the same thing. Can each table share one thing, because I know our culinary, a wonderful culinary program is waiting to clean up and wrap up. So if each table can share one thing that they've just discussed. So who want to go first? Just one thing. Okay. All right, James.
Oh, we had a table of educators, and we were talking about the education pathway and how to get more people into the field and how important that is to grow an industry.
Okay, so I'm the philosophy major with all these experts, and so I'm going to try to say what's so the one thing is, first of all, we had several cities here, incubator, builder, and project manager who facilitates. And the one thing is, so how does, like Vacaville, so how do you, a city that used to be passed over, what did they do first? One, they studied opportunities and constraints. Second is invest in the infrastructure for a greenfield site. Third then is interviewed companies and came up with incentives. And what's interesting is some of the cities in the 680 corridor can't cut fees because that brings in prevailing wage, but they then set a program where the whole sector didn't have to pay the fee. So it was an individual cut. So therefore that allowed the fees to be cut for in general. So again, then they speeded up the process. So this made it faster.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you the speaker for this table? Okay.
Okay, so two very quick things. So we were talking about how, I'm going to stand up here. So the permitting process can be daunting. So we heard that whenever the industry is new, whether it is biotech, medical manufacturing, or even as we've learned in Concord, cannabis. So, so it's really important that there's a translator. And Marie and Robert, I did talk about the great permitting process that we do have in the city of Concord. And then the other, also there was the good point made, you know, if we're talking about, you know, biotech, a lot of folks don't think about things like, there's a real process that's needed for dealing with bio waste, right? So you have to really be thoughtful and thinking through all those things before you raise your hand and say, yes, we want this particular portion of the life sciences industry in our community. And then the other piece that was brought up, I thought that was really smart, is we're talking in some ways about the urbanization of the suburbs. And many people are saying, you know, I don't want to have to commute for 4 hours, but they also don't want to live right next to a manufacturing facility either. So, you know, it has to go somewhere. And so helping to educate people about, you know, what the benefits are, because there is going to be change and it could impact some people negatively. So letting them know what the overall plus is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, who's?
So we talked about regionalism and the fact that the cities are so interconnected that they need to be thinking beyond just city limits. Pleasant Hill BART station was an example of an area that really impacts our whole region. We talked about how to connect with the county, which meets quarterly with economic development managers at the cities, but then how does that interface with the chambers, with the college, with other organizations that can be partners in really promoting our whole region. We also talked about marketing and collaborating, for instance, DVC, Solano College, Contra Costa College, really marketing biotech opportunities in training and careers.
Okay, all right, this table.
We focused on the question centered on how do we improve zoning practices to make life sciences more viable. And we basically talked about how it really takes a village. So it requires research. And so we may rely on our partners at the East Bay EDA and creating a land use toolkit for municipalities to adopt. It requires direction from council so that staff actually prioritizes it. It requires economic development and planning to have a positive working relationship so that they can make that project move forward. And it also takes interviews with private companies so that we know what they're going through and can actually implement that in the process so that it's addressing their concerns.
All right. There we go.
So we really focused in on the question of what kind of workforce does this industry require and how can we leverage our resources? And so we talked about life science, biology, advanced food production, and instrument manufacturing. But we also talked about, and it was mentioned earlier in other groups, what is our baseline for this region? What do we have today? Are we ready to pivot to something different? And what does our current, I missed that, what does it consist of? What is our current microclimate? What direction do we want to go? And we had a very robust discussion about advertising and marketing because we're talking about how hard it is to try and inform young folks about what exactly biotechnology is and the different careers that they can come with it. And we talked about if they understood how it could support living in the Bay Area since it's so expensive, that it may attract them into the field.
Okay, we have everyone. All right. Okay, we're coming to a close. And on behalf of President Susan Lamb of Diablo Valley College, Joe Gorga, who serves as the Vice President of Equity and Instruction, and myself, Vicki Ferguson, Vice President of Equity and Student Services, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a great opportunity for our first event to be hosting, so we're really excited. I definitely want to thank Jim and Beth, sorry, Beth, the staff, culinary, everyone who helped make this possible. So I'm not going to close this out. The chair of DVTI is going to close us out. Jags. Thank you.